Book 55, Prophets. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, Allah created Adam, making him 60 cubits tall. When he created him, he said to him, Go and greet that group of angels, and listen to their reply, for it will be your greeting, salutation, and the greeting, salutations of your offspring. So, Adam said, to the angels, Assalamu alaykum, that is peace be upon you. The angels said, Assalamu alayka wa rahmatullahi, that is peace and Allah's mercy be upon you. Thus the angels added to Adam's salutation the expression, wa rahmatullahi, any person who will enter paradise will resemble Adam, in appearance and figure. People have been decreasing in stature since Adam's creation. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, the first group of people who will enter paradise, will be glittering like the full moon, and those who will follow them, will glitter like the most brilliant star in the sky. They will not urinate, relieve nature, spit, or have any nasal secretions. Their combs will be of gold, and their sweat will smell like musk. The aloes wood will be used in their centers. Their wives will be houris. All of them will look alike and will resemble their father Adam, in statute, 60 cubits tall. Narrated Abu Salama, Salama said, Salam said, O Allah's apostle, Allah does not refrain from saying the truth. Is it obligatory for a woman to take a bath after she gets nocturnal discharge? He said, yes, if she notices the water, that is discharge. Salama smiled and said, does a woman get discharge? Allah's apostle said, then why does a child resemble its mother? Narrated Anas, when Abdullah bin Salam heard the arrival of the Prophet at Medina, he came to him and said, I am going to ask you about 3 things which nobody knows except a prophet. What is the first portent of the hour? What will be the first meal taken by the people of paradise? Why does a child resemble its father, and why does it resemble its maternal uncle? Allah's apostle said, Gabriel has just now told me of their answers. Abdullah said, he, that is Gabriel, from amongst all the angels, is the enemy of the Jews. Allah's apostle said, the first portent of the hour will be a fire that will bring together the people from the east to the west. The first meal of the people of paradise will be extra lobe, caudate lobe, of fish liver. As for the resemblance of the child to its parents, if a man has sexual intercourse with his wife and gets discharge first, the child will resemble the father, and if the woman gets discharge first, the child will resemble her. On that Abdullah bin Salam said, I testify that you are the apostle of Allah. Abdullah bin Salam further said, O Allah's apostle, the Jews are liars, and if they should come to know about my conversion to Islam before you ask them about me, they would tell a lie about me. The Jews came to Allah's apostle and Abdullah went inside the house. Allah's apostle asked the Jews, what kind of man is Abdullah bin Salam amongst you? They replied, he is the most learned person amongst us, and the best amongst us, and the son of the best amongst us. Allah's apostle said, what do you think if he embraces Islam, will you do as he does? The Jews said, may Allah save him from it. Then Abdullah bin Salam came out in front of them saying, I testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah and that Muhammad is the apostle of Allah. Thereupon they said, he is the evilest among us, and the son of the evilest amongst us, and continued talking badly of him. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, but for the Israelis, meat would not decay, and but for Eve, wives would never betray their husbands. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, treat women nicely, for a woman is created from a rib, and the most curved portion of the rib is its upper portion, so, if you should try to straighten it, it will break, but if you leave it as it is, it will remain crooked. So treat women nicely. Narrated Abdullah, Allah's apostle, the true and truly inspired said, as regards your creation, every one of you is collected in the womb of his mother for the first 40 days, and then he becomes a clot for another 40 days, and then a piece of flesh for another 40 days. Then Allah sends an angel to write 4 words, he writes his deeds, time of his death, means of his livelihood, and whether he will be wretched or blessed, in religion. Then the soul is breathed into his body. So a man may do deeds characteristic of the people of the hell fire, so much so that there is only the distance of a cubit between him and it, and then what has been written by the angel surpasses, and so he starts doing deeds characteristic of the people of paradise and enters paradise. Similarly, a person may do deeds characteristic of the people of paradise, so much so that there is only the distance of a cubit between him and it, and then what has been written by the angel surpasses, and he starts doing deeds of the people of the hell fire and enters their hell fire. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, Allah has appointed an angel in the womb, and the angel says, O Lord, a drop of discharge, that is of semen, O Lord, a clot, O Lord, a piece of flesh. And then, if Allah wishes to complete the child's creation, the angel will say, O Lord, a male or a female. O Lord, wretched or blessed, in religion? What will his livelihood be? What will his age be? The angel writes all this while the child is in the womb of its mother. Narrated Anas, the Prophet said, Allah will say to that person of the hell fire who will receive the least punishment, if you had everything on the earth, would you give it as a ransom to free yourself, that is save yourself from this fire? He will say, yes. Then Allah will say, while you were in the backbone of Adam, I asked you much less than this, that is not to worship others besides me. But you insisted on worshipping others besides me. Narrated Abdullah, Allah's apostle said, whenever a person is murdered unjustly, there is a share from the burden of the crime on the first son of Adam, for he was the first to start the tradition of murdering. Narrated Ibn Umar, once Allah's apostle stood amongst the people, glorified and praised Allah as he deserved, and then mentioned the Dajjal, saying, I'll warn you against him, that is the Dajjal. And there was no prophet but warned his nation against him. No doubt, Noah warned his nation against him, but I tell you about him something of which no prophet told his nation before me. You should know that he is one-eyed, and Allah is not one-eyed. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, shall I not tell you about the Dajjal, story of which no prophet told his nation? The Dajjal is one-eyed and will bring with him what will resemble hell and paradise. And what he will call paradise will be actually hell, so I warn you against him, as Noah warned his nation against him. Narrated Abu said, Allah's apostle said, Noah and his nation will come on the day of resurrection, and Allah will ask, Noah, did you convey the message? He will reply, yes, O my Lord. Then Allah will ask Noah's nation, did Noah convey my message to you? They will reply, no, no prophet came to us. Then Allah will ask Noah, who will stand a witness for you? He will reply, Muhammad and his followers will stand witness for me. So, I and my followers will stand as witnesses for him, that he conveyed Allah's message. That is, the interpretation of the statement of Allah, thus we have made you a just and the best nation that you might be witnesses over mankind. 2.143 Narrated Abu Huraira, we were in the company of the Prophet at a banquet, and a cooked mutton forearm was set before him, and he used to like it. He ate a morsel of it and said, I will be the chief of all the people on the day of resurrection. Do you know how Allah will gather all the first and the last people in one level place where an observer will be able to see all of them, and they will be able to hear the announcer, and the sun will come near to them? Some people will say, don't you see, in what condition you are and the state to which you have reached? Why don't you look for a person who can intercede for you with your Lord? Some people will say, appeal to your father, Adam. They will go to him and say, O Adam, you are the father of all mankind, and Allah created you with his own hands, and ordered the angels to prostrate for you, and made you live in paradise. Will you not intercede for us with your Lord? Don't you see in what miserable state we are, and to what condition we have reached? On that Adam will reply, my Lord is so angry as he has never been before and will never be in the future. Besides, he forbade me to eat from the tree, but I disobeyed him. I am worried about myself. Go to somebody else, go to Noah. They will go to Noah and say, O Noah, you are the first amongst the messengers of Allah to the people of the earth, and Allah named you a thankful slave. Don't you see in what a miserable state we are and to what condition we have reached? Will you not intercede for us with your Lord? Noah will reply, today my Lord has become so angry as he had never been before and will never be in the future. Myself. Go to their Prophet, Muhammad. The people will come to me, and I will prostrate myself underneath Allah's throne. Then I will be addressed, O Muhammad. Raise your head, intercede, for your intercession will be accepted, and ask for anything, for you will be given. Narrated Abdullah, Allah's apostle recited the following verse, in the usual tone, Fal minutes ma'adulka. 54.15. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, I have been made victorious with As-Saba, that is an easterly wind, and the people of Ad were destroyed by Ad-Dabur, that is a westerly wind. Narrated Abu said, Ali sent a piece of gold to the Prophet who distributed it among 4 persons, Al-Aqra bin Habis al-Hanzali from the tribe of Mujashi, Uayna bin Badr al-Fazari, Zayd at-Tai who belonged to the tribe of Bani Naban, and Al-Qama bin al-Athar al-Amir who belonged to the tribe of Bani Kilab. So the Quraysh and the Ansar became angry and said, he, that is the Prophet, gives the chief of Najd and does not give us. The Prophet said, I give them, so as to attract their hearts to Islam. Then a man with sunken eyes, prominent checks, a raised forehead, a thick beard and a shaven head, came in front of the Prophet, and said, Be afraid of Allah, O Muhammad. The Prophet said, Who would obey Allah if I disobeyed him? Is it fair that Allah has trusted all the people of the earth to me while you do not trust me? Somebody who, I think was Khalid bin al-Walid, requested the Prophet to let him chop that man's head off, but he prevented him. When the man left, the Prophet said, Among the offspring of this man will be some who will recite the Quran, but the Quran will not reach beyond their throats, that is, they will recite like parrots and will not understand it nor act on it, and they will renegade from the religion as an arrow goes through the game's body. They will kill the Muslims but will not disturb the idolaters. If I should live up to their time, I will kill them as the people of Ad were killed, that is, I will kill all of them. Narrated Abdullah, I heard the Prophet reciting, Fal minutes ma'adakiyah. See Hadith number 557. Narrated Abdullah bin Zama, I heard the Prophet while referring to the person who had cut the legs of the she-camel, of the Prophet Salih, saying, The man who was appointed for doing this job, was a man of honor and power in his nation like Abu Zama. Narrated Ibn Umar, when Allah's apostle landed at Al-Hijr during the Ghazwa of Tabuk, he ordered his companions not to drink water from its well or reserve water from it. They said, We have already kneaded the dough with its water, and also filled our bags with its water. On that, the Prophet ordered them to throw away the dough and pour out the water. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, the people landed at the land of Tamad called Al-Hijr along with Allah's apostle, and they took water from its well for drinking and kneading the dough with it as well. When Allah's apostle heard about it, he ordered them to pour out the water they had taken from its wells and feed the camels with the dough, and ordered them to take water from the well whence the she-camel, of Prophet Salih, used to drink. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, when the Prophet passed by a place called Al-Hijr, he said, Do not enter the house of those who are unjust to themselves, unless you enter, weeping, lest you should suffer the same punishment as was inflicted upon them. After that he covered his face with his sheet cloth while he was on the camel saddle. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's apostle said, Do not enter the ruined dwellings of those who are unjust to themselves unless you enter, weeping, lest you should suffer the same punishment as was inflicted upon them. Narrated Zainab bint Jahsh, that the Prophet once came to her in a state of fear and said, None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. Woe unto the Arabs from a danger that has come near. An opening has been made in the wall of Gog and Magog like this, making a circle with his thumb and index finger. Zainab bint Jahsh said, O Allah's apostle, shall we be destroyed even though there are pious persons among us? He said, Yes, when the evil person will increase. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, Allah has made an opening in the wall of the Gog and Magog people, like this, and he made with his hand, with the help of his fingers. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet said, Allah will say, on the day of resurrection, O Adam. Adam will reply, Labbaik wa Sadiq, and all the good is in your hand. Allah will say, bring out the people of the fire. Adam will say, O Allah. How many are the people of the fire? Allah will reply, from every 1,000, take out 999. At that time children will become hoary-headed, every pregnant female will have a miscarriage, and one will see mankind as drunken, yet they will not be drunken, but dreadful will be the wrath of Allah. The companions of the Prophet asked, O Allah's Apostle, who is that accepted one? He said, rejoice with glad tidings, one person will be from you and 1,000 will be from Gog and Magog. The Prophet further said, by him in whose hands my life is, hope that you will be 1/4 of the people of paradise. We shouted, Allahu Akbar. He added, I hope that you will be 1/3 of the people of paradise. We shouted, Allahu Akbar. He said, I hope that you will be half of the people of paradise. We shouted, Allahu Akbar. He further said, you, Muslims, compared with non-Muslims, are like a black hair in the skin of a white ox or like a white hair in the skin of a black ox, that is your number is very small as compared with theirs. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, you will be gathered, on the day of judgment, barefooted, naked and not circumcised. He then recited as we began the first creation, we shall repeat it, a promise we have undertaken, truly we shall do it. 21.104, he added, the first to be dressed on the day of resurrection, will be Abraham, and some of my companions will be taken towards the left side, that is to the hell fire, and I will say, my companions. My companions. It will be said, they renegade from Islam after you left them. Then I will say as the pious slave of Allah, that is Jesus, said. And I was a witness over them while I dwelt amongst them. When you took me up you were the watcher over them, and you are a witness to all things. If you punish them, they are your slaves, and if you forgive them, verily you, only you are the Almighty, the All-Wise. 5.120-121 Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, on the day of resurrection Abraham will meet his father Azar whose face will be dark and covered with dust. The Prophet Abraham will say to him, didn't I tell you not to disobey me? His father will reply, today I will not disobey you. Abraham will say, O Lord, you promised me not to disgrace me on the day of resurrection, and what will be more disgraceful to me than cursing and dishonoring my father? Then Allah will say, to him, I have forbidden paradise for the disbelievers. Then he will be addressed, O Abraham. Look. What is underneath your feet? He will look and there he will see a dab, an animal, blood-stained, which will be caught by the legs and thrown in there, hell, fire. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet entered the Kaaba and found in it the pictures of Prophet Abraham and Mary. On that he said, what is the matter with them, that is Quraysh? They have already heard that angels do not enter a house in which there are pictures, yet this is the picture of Abraham. And why is he depicted as practicing divination by arrows? Narrated Ibn Abbas, when the Prophet saw pictures in the Kaaba, he did not enter it till he ordered them to be erased. When he saw the pictures of Abraham and Ishmael carrying the arrows of divination, he said, may Allah curse them, that is the Quraysh. By Allah, neither Abraham nor Ishmael practiced divination by arrows. Narrated Abu Huraira, the people said, O Allah's Apostle, who is the most honorable amongst the people, in Allah's sight? He said, the most righteous amongst them. They said, we do not ask you about this. He said, then Joseph, Allah's prophet, the son of Allah's prophet, the son of Allah's prophet, the son of Allah's Khalil, that is Abraham. They said, we do not want to ask about this. He said, then you want to ask about the descent of the Arabs. Those who are the best in the pre-Islamic period of ignorance will be the best in Islam provided they comprehend the religious knowledge. Narrated Samura, Allah's Apostle said, two persons came to me at night, in dream, and took me along with them. We passed by a tall man who was so tall that I was not able to see his head, and that person was Abraham. Narrated Mujahid, that when the people mentioned before Ibn Abbas that the Dajjal would have the word kafir, that is unbeliever, or the letters kafir, the root of the Arabic verb disbelieve, written on his forehead, I heard Ibn Abbas saying, I did not hear this. But the Prophet said, if you want to see Abraham, then look at your companion, that is the Prophet. But Moses was a curly-haired, brown man, who used to ride a red camel, the reins of which was made of fires of date palms. As if I were now looking down a valley. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's Apostle said, Abraham did his circumcision with anads at the age of 80. Narrated Abu Zinad, as above in Hadith number 575, with anads. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's Apostle said, Abraham did not tell a lie except on 3 occasions. Narrated Abu Huraira, Abraham did not tell a lie except on 3 occasions. Twice for the sake of Allah when he said, I am sick, and he said, I have not done this but the big idol has done it. There, third was, that while Abraham and Sarah, his wife, were going on a journey, they passed by the territory of a tyrant. Someone said to the tyrant, this man, that is Abraham, is accompanied by a very charming lady. So, he sent for Abraham and asked him about Sarah, saying, who is this lady? Abraham said, she is my sister. Abraham went to Sarah and said, O Sarah, there are no believers on the surface of the earth except you and I. This man asked me about you and I have told him that you are my sister, so don't contradict my statement. The tyrant then called Sarah, and when she went to him, he tried to take hold of her with his hand, but his hand got stiff and he was confounded. He asked Sarah, pray to Allah for me, and I shall not harm you. So Sarah asked Allah to cure him and he got cured. He tried to take hold of her for the second time, but his hand got as stiff as or stiffer than before and was more confounded. He again requested Sarah, pray to Allah for me, and I will not harm you. Sarah asked Allah again and he became all right. He then called one of his guards, who had brought her, and said, you have not brought me a human being but have brought me a devil. The tyrant then gave Hajar as a girl servant to Sarah. Sarah came back to Abraham while he was praying. Abraham, gesturing with his hand, asked, what has happened? She replied, Allah has spoiled the evil plot of the infidel, or immoral person, and gave me Hajar for service. Abu Huraira then addressed his listeners saying, that Hajar was your mother, O Bani Isma, that is the Arabs, the descendants of Ishmael, Hajar's son. Narrated Sharik, Allah's Apostle ordered that the salamander should be killed and said, it, that is the salamander, blew the fire on Abraham. Narrated Abdullah, when the verse it is those who believe and do not confuse their belief with wrong, that is joining others in worship with Allah, 6.83, was revealed, we said, O Allah's Apostle, who is there amongst us who has not done wrong to himself? He replied, it is not as you say, for wrong in the verse and do not confuse their belief with wrong means shirk, that is joining others in worship with Allah. Haven't you heard Luqman's saying to his son, O my son, join not others in worship with Allah, verily joining others in worship with Allah is a great wrong indeed. 31.13 Narrated Abu Huraira, one day some meat was given to the Prophet and he said, on the day of resurrection Allah will gather all the first and the last people in one plain, and the voice of the announcer will reach all of them, and one will be able to see them all, and the sun will come closer to them. The narrator then mentioned the narration of intercession. The people will go to Abraham and say, you are Allah's prophet and his Khalil on the earth. Will you intercede for us with your Lord? Abraham will then remember his lies and say, myself. Go to Moses. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, may Allah bestow his mercy on the mother of Ishmael. Had she not hastened to fill her water skin with water from their Zamzam well, Zamzam would have been a stream flowing on the surface of the earth. Ibn Abbas further added, the Prophet, Abraham brought Ishmael and his mother to Mecca, and she was suckling Ishmael and she had a water skin with her. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the first lady to use a girdle was the mother of Ishmael. She used a girdle so that she might hide her tracks from Sarah. Abraham brought her and her son Ishmael while she was suckling him, to a place near the Kaaba under a tree on the spot of Zamzam, at the highest place in the mosque. During those days there was nobody in Mecca, nor was there any water, so he made them sit over there and placed near them a leather bag containing some dates, and a small water skin containing some water, and set out homeward. Ishmael's mother followed him saying, "O Abraham, where are you going, leaving us in this valley where there is no person whose company we may enjoy, nor is there anything to enjoy?" She repeated that to him many times, but he did not look back at her. Then she asked him, "Has Allah ordered you to do so?" He said, "Yes." She said, "Then he will not neglect us," and returned while Abraham proceeded onwards, and on reaching the Thaniya where they could not see him, he faced the Kaaba, and raising both hands, invoked Allah saying the following prayers: "O our Lord, I have made some of my offspring dwell in a valley without cultivation, by your sacred house, Kaaba at Mecca, in order, O our Lord, that they may offer prayer perfectly. So fill some hearts among men with love towards them, and, O Allah, provide them with fruits, so that they may give thanks." 14.37 Ishmael's mother went on suckling Ishmael and drinking from the water she had. When the water in the water skin had all been used up, she became thirsty and her child also became thirsty. She started looking at him, that is Ishmael, tossing in agony. She left him, for she could not endure looking at him, and found that the mountain of Safa was the nearest mountain to her on that land. She stood on it and started looking at the valley keenly so that she might see somebody, but she could not see anybody. Then she descended from Safa, and when she reached the valley, she tucked up her robe and ran in the valley like a person in distress and trouble, till she crossed the valley and reached the Mawar mountain, where she stood and started looking, expecting to see somebody, but she could not see anybody. She repeated that, running between Safa and Mawar, 7 times. The Prophet said, "This is the source of the tradition of the walking of people between them, that is Safa and Mawar." When she reached the Mawar, for the last time, she heard a voice and she asked herself to be quiet and listened attentively. She heard the voice again and said, "Oh, whoever you may be, you have made me hear your voice. Have you got something to help me?" And behold, she saw an angel at the place of Zamzam, digging the earth with his heel, or his wing, till water flowed from that place. She started to make something like a basin around it, using her hand in this way, and started filling her water skin with water with her hands, and the water was flowing out after she had scooped some of it. The Prophet added, "May Allah bestow mercy on Ishmael's mother. Had she let the Zamzam flow without trying to control it, or had she not scooped from that water, to fill her water skin, Zamzam would have been a stream flowing on the surface of the earth." The Prophet further added, "Then she drank water, and suckled her child." The angel said to her, "Don't be afraid of being neglected, for this is the house of Allah which will be built by this boy and his father, and Allah never neglects his people." The house, that is Kaaba, at that time was on a high place resembling a hillock, and when torrents came, they flowed to its right and left. She lived in that way till some people from the tribe of Jerem or a family from Jerem passed by her and her child, as they, that is the Jerem people, were coming through the way of Qadr. They landed in the lower part of Mecca, where they saw a bird that had the habit of flying around water and not leaving it. They said, "This bird must be flying around water, though we know that there is no water in this valley." They sent 1 or 2 messengers who discovered the source of water, and returned to inform them of the water. So, they all came towards the water. The Prophet added, Ishmael's mother was sitting near the water. They asked her, "Do you allow us to stay with you?" She replied, "Yes, but you will have no right to possess the water." They agreed to that. The Prophet further said, Ishmael's mother was pleased with the whole situation, as she used to love to enjoy the company of the people. So, they settled there, and later on they sent for their families who came and settled with them, so that some families became permanent residents there. The child, that is Ishmael, grew up and learned Arabic from them, and his virtues caused them to love and admire him as he grew up, and when he reached the age of puberty they made him marry a woman from amongst them. After Ishmael's mother had died, Abraham came after Ishmael's marriage in order to see his family that he had left before, but he did not find Ishmael there. When he asked Ishmael's wife about him, she replied, "He has gone in search of our livelihood." Then he asked her about their way of living and their condition, and she replied, "We are living in misery, we are living in hardship and destitution," complaining to him. He said, "When your husband returns, convey my salutation to him and tell him to change the threshold of the gate of his house." When Ishmael came, he seemed to have felt something unusual, so he asked his wife, "Has anyone visited you?" She replied, "Yes, an old man of so-and-so description came and asked me about you, and I informed him, and he asked about our state of living, and I told him that we were living in a hardship and poverty." On that Ishmael said, "Did he advise you anything?" She replied, "Yes. He told me to convey his salutation to you and to tell you to change the threshold of your gate." Ishmael said, "It was my father, and he has ordered me to divorce you. Go back to your family." So, Ishmael divorced her and married another woman from amongst them, that is Jeram. Then Abraham stayed away from them for a period as long as Allah wished and called on them again, but did not find Ishmael. So he came to Ishmael's wife and asked her about Ishmael. She said, "He has gone in search of our livelihood." Abraham asked her, "How are you getting on?" asking her about their sustenance and living. She replied, "We are prosperous and well off, that is, we have everything in abundance." Then she thanked Allah. Abraham said, "What kind of food do you eat?" She said, "Meat." He said, "What do you drink?" She said, "Water." He said, "O Allah, bless their meat and water." The Prophet added, "At that time they did not have grain, and if they had grain, he would have also invoked Allah to bless it." The Prophet added, "If somebody has only these two things as his sustenance, his health and disposition will be badly affected, unless he lives in Mecca." The Prophet added, "Then Abraham said Ishmael's wife, when your husband comes, give my regards to him and tell him that he should keep firm the threshold of his gate." When Ishmael came back, he asked his wife, "Did anyone call on you?" She replied, "Yes, a good-looking old man came to me," so she praised him and added, "He asked about you, and I informed him, and he asked about our livelihood and I told him that we were in a good condition." Ishmael asked her, "Did he give you any piece of advice?" She said, "Yes. He told me to give his regards to you and ordered that you should keep firm the threshold of your gate." On that Ishmael said, "It was my father, and you are the threshold of the gate. He has ordered me to keep you with me." Then Abraham stayed away from them for a period as long as Allah wished, and called on them afterwards. He saw Ishmael under a tree near Zamzam, sharpening his arrows. When he saw Abraham, he rose up to welcome him, and they greeted each other as a father does with his son or a son does with his father. Abraham said, "O Ishmael, Allah has given me an order." Ishmael said, "Do what your Lord has ordered you to do." Abraham asked, "Will you help me?" Ishmael said, "I will help you." Abraham said, "Allah has ordered me to build a house here," pointing to a hillock higher than the land surrounding it. The Prophet added, "Then they raised the foundations of the house, that is the Kaaba." Ishmael brought the stones and Abraham was building, and when the walls became high, Ishmael brought the stone and put it for Abraham, who stood over it and carried on building, while Ishmael was handing him the stones, and both of them were saying, "O our Lord, accept this service from us, verily, you are the all-hearing, the all-knowing." The Prophet added, Then both of them went on building and going round the Kaaba saying, "O our Lord, accept this service from us, verily, you are the all-hearing, the all-knowing." 2.127 Narrated Ibn Abbas, when Abraham had differences with his wife, because of her jealousy of Hajar, Ishmael's mother, he took Ishmael and his mother and went away. They had a water skin with them containing some water. Ishmael's mother used to drink water from the water skin so that her milk would increase for her child. When Abraham reached Mecca, he made her sit under a tree and afterwards returned home. Ishmael's mother followed him, and when they reached Qada, she called him from behind, "O Abraham! To whom are you leaving us?" He replied, "I am leaving you, to Allah's care." She said, "I am satisfied to be with Allah." She returned to her place and started drinking water from the water skin, and her milk increased for her child. When the water had all been used up, she said to herself, "I'd better go and look so that I may see somebody." She ascended the Safa mountain and looked, hoping to see somebody, but in vain. When she came down to the valley, she ran till she reached the Mawar mountain. She ran to and fro, between the two mountains, many times. She said to herself, "I'd better go and see the state of the child." She went and found it in a state of one on the point of dying. She could not endure to watch it dying and said to herself, "If I go and look, I may find somebody." She went and ascended the Safa mountain and looked for a long while but could not find anybody. Thus she completed 7 rounds of running between Safa and Mawar. Again she said to herself, "I'd better go back and see the state of the child." But suddenly she heard a voice, and she said to that strange voice, "Help us if you can offer any help." Lo! It was Gabriel, who had made the voice. Gabriel hit the earth with his heel like this. Ibn Abbas hit the earth with his heel to illustrate it, and so the water gushed out. Ishmael's mother was astonished and started digging. Abu al-Qasim, that is the Prophet, said, if she had left the water flow naturally without her intervention, it would have been flowing on the surface of the earth. Ishmael's mother started drinking from the water and her milk increased for her child. Afterwards some people of the tribe of Jerem, while passing through the bottom of the valley, saw some birds, and that astonished them, and they said, "Birds can only be found at a place where there is water." They sent a messenger who searched the place and found the water, and returned to inform them about it. Then they all went to her and said, "O Ishmael's mother! Will you allow us to be with you, or dwell with you?" And thus they stayed there. Later on her boy reached the age of puberty and married a lady from them. Then an idea occurred to Abraham which he disclosed to his wife, Sarah, "I want to call on my dependents I left at Mecca." When he went there, he greeted Ishmael's wife, and said, "Where is Ishmael?" She replied, "He has gone out hunting." Abraham said to her, "When he comes, tell him to change the threshold of his gate." When he came, she told him the same, whereupon Ishmael said to her, "You are the threshold, so go to your family, that is you are divorced." Again Abraham thought of visiting his dependents whom he had left at Mecca, and he told his wife, Sarah, of his intentions. Abraham came to Ishmael's house and asked, "Where is Ishmael?" Ishmael's wife replied, "He has gone out hunting," and added, "Will you stay for some time, and have something to eat and drink?" Abraham asked, "What is your food and what is your drink?" She replied, "Our food is meat and our drink is water." He said, "O Allah! Bless their meals and their drink." Abu al-Qasim, that is Prophet, said, "Because of Abraham's invocation there are blessings in Mecca." Once more Abraham thought of visiting his family he had left at Mecca, so he told his wife, Sarah, of his decision. He went and found Ishmael behind the Zamzam well, mending his arrows. He said, "O Ishmael, your Lord has ordered me to build a house for him." Ishmael said, "Obey the order of your Lord." Abraham said, "Allah has also ordered me that you should help me therein." Ishmael said, "Then I will do." So, both of them rose and Abraham started building the Kaaba, while Ishmael went on handing him the stones, and both of them were saying, "O our Lord! Accept this service from us, verily, you are the all-hearing, the all-knowing. 2.127 When the building became high and the old man, that is Abraham, could no longer lift the stones to such a high position, he stood over the stone of Al-Makam and Ishmael carried on handing him the stones, and both of them were saying, "O our Lord! Accept this service from us, Verily you are all-hearing, all-knowing. 2.127 Narrated Abu Hurai, I said, O Allah's Apostle, which mosque was first built on the surface of the earth? He said, Al-Masjid al-Haram, in Mecca. I said, which was built next? He replied, the Mosque of Al-Aqsa, in Jerusalem. I said, what was the period of construction between the two? He said, 40 years. He added, wherever you may be, and the prayer time becomes due, perform the prayer there, for the best thing is to do so, that is to offer the prayers in time. Narrated Anas bin Malik, when the mountain of Uwad came in the sight of Allah's Apostle, he said, this is a mountain that loves us and is loved by us. O Allah! Abraham made Mecca a sanctuary, and I make the area, in between these two mountains, of Medina, a sanctuary. Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, Allah's Apostle said to her, don't you see that when your folk built the Kaaba, they did not build it on all the foundations built by Abraham? I said, O Allah's Apostle, why don't we rebuild it on the foundations of Abraham? He said, but for the fact that your folk have recently given up infidelity, I would have done so. Narrated Ibn Umar, Aisha must have heard this from Allah's Apostle, for I see that Allah's Apostle used not to touch the two corners facing Al-Hijr only because the house have not been built on the foundations of Abraham. Narrated Abu Humayd as-Sadi, the people asked, O Allah's Apostle, how shall we ask Allah to send blessings on you? Allah's Apostle replied, say, O Allah, send your mercy on Muhammad and on his wives and on his offspring, as you sent your mercy on Abraham's family, and send your blessings on Muhammad and on his offspring, as you sent your blessings on Abraham's family, for you are the most praiseworthy, the most glorious. Narrated Abdurrahman bin Abi Layla, Ka'b bin Ujra met me and said, shall I not give you a present I got from the Prophet? Abdurrahman said, yes, give it to me. I said, we asked Allah's Apostle saying, O Allah's Apostle, how should one ask Allah to send blessings on you, the members of the family, for Allah has taught us how to salute you in the prayer? He said, say, O Allah, send your mercy on Muhammad and on the family of Muhammad, as you sent your mercy on Abraham and on the family of Abraham, for you are the most praiseworthy, the most glorious. O Allah, send your blessings on Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, as you sent your blessings on Abraham and on the family of Abraham, for you are the most praiseworthy, the most glorious. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet used to seek refuge with Allah for Al-Hasan and Al-Hussein and say, your forefather, that is Abraham, used to seek refuge with Allah for Ishmael and Isaac by reciting the following, O Allah, I seek refuge with your perfect words from every devil and from poisonous pests and from every evil, harmful, envious eye. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's Apostle said, we are more liable to be in doubt than Abraham when he said, my Lord, show me how you give life to the dead. He, that is Allah, slid, don't you believe then? He, that is Abraham, said, yes, but, I ask, in order to be stronger in faith. 2.260, and may Allah send his mercy on Lot. He wished to have a powerful support. If I were to stay in prison for such a long time as Joseph did, I would have accepted the offer of freedom without insisting on having my guiltless less declared. Narrated Salama bin al-Aqwa, the Prophet passed by some persons of the tribe of Islam practicing archery, that is the throwing of arrows. Allah's Apostle said, O offspring of Ishmael, practice archery, that is arrow throwing, as your father was a great archer, that is arrow thrower. I am on the side of the son of so-and-so. Hearing that, one of the two teams stopped throwing. Allah's Apostle asked them, why are you not throwing? They replied, O Allah's Apostle, how shall we throw when you are with the opposite team? He said, throw, for I am with you all. Narrated Abu Huraira, some people asked the Prophet, who is the most honorable amongst the people? He replied, the most honorable among them is the one who is the most Allah-fearing. They said, O Allah's Prophet, we do not ask about this. He said, then the most honorable person is Joseph, Allah's Prophet, the son of Allah's Prophet, the son of Allah's Prophet, the son of Allah's Khalil. They said, we do not ask about this. He said, then you want to ask me about the Arabs' descent? They said, yes. He said, those who are best in the pre-Islamic period, are the best in Islam, if they comprehend the religious knowledge. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, may Allah forgive Lot, he wanted to have a powerful support. Narrated Abdullah, the Prophet recited how minutes are dark year, 54.15, is there any that will remember, and avoid evil? Narrated Ibn Omar, the Prophet said, the Honorable is the son of the Honorable, the son the Honorable, that is Joseph, the son of Jacob, the son of Isaac, the son of Abraham. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle was asked, who is the most honorable amongst the people? He replied, the most Allah-fearing. The people said, we do not want to ask you about this. He said, the most honorable person is Joseph, Allah's prophet, the son of Allah's prophet, the son of Allah's prophet, the son of Allah's Khalil. The people said, we do not want to ask you about this. He said, then you want to ask me about the origins of the Arabs? People are of various origins. The best in the pre-Islamic period are the best in Islam, provided they comprehend the religious knowledge. Narrated Aisha, that the Prophet said to her, order Abu Bakr to lead the people in prayer. She replied, Abu Bakr is a soft-hearted person, and when he stands at your place, he will weep, so he will not be able to lead the prayer. The Prophet repeated the same order and she gave the same reply. The narrator, Shuba, said that the Prophet said on the third or fourth time, you are, like, the female companions of Joseph. Order Abu Bakr to lead the prayer. Narrated Abu Musa, when the Prophet fell ill, he said, order Abu Bakr to lead the people in prayer. Aisha said, Abu Bakr is a soft-hearted person. The Prophet gave the same order again and she again gave the same reply. He again said, order Abu Bakr to lead the prayer. You are, like, the female companions of Joseph. Consequently Abu Bakr led the people in prayer in the lifetime of the Prophet. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, O Allah, save Ayahs bin Abi Rabia from the unjust treatment of the infidels. O Allah, save Salama bin Hisham. O Allah, send your punishment on the tribe of Muda. O Allah, let them suffer from years of drought, similar to that inflicted during the lifetime of Joseph. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, may Allah bestow his mercy on Lot. He wanted to have a powerful support. If I were to stay in prison, for a period equal to the stay of Joseph, prison, and then the offer of freedom came to me, then I would have accepted it. See Hadith number 591. Narrated Masruq, I asked Ruman, Aisha's mother, about the accusation forged against Aisha. She said, while I was sitting with Aisha, an Ansari woman came to us and said, let Allah condemn such and such person. I asked her, why do you say so? She replied, for he has spread the slanderous story. Aisha said, what story? The woman then told her the story. Aisha asked, have Abu Bakr and Allah's apostle heard about it? She said, yes. Aisha fell down senseless on hearing that, and when she came to her senses, she got fever and shaking of the body. The Prophet came and asked, what is wrong with her? I said, she has got fever because of a story which has been rumored. Aisha got up and said, by Allah, even if I took an oath, you would not believe me, and if I put forward an excuse, you would not excuse me. My example and your example is just like that example of Jacob and his sons. Against that which you assert, it is Allah alone whose help can be sought. 12.18 The Prophet left and then Allah revealed the verses concerning the matter, and on that Aisha said, thanks to Allah only, and not to anybody else. Narrated I asked Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, about the meaning of the following verse, respite will be granted, until when the apostles give up hope of their people, and thought that they were denied by their people. 12.110 Aisha replied, really, their nations did not believe them. I said, by Allah, They were definite that their nations treated them as liars and it was not a matter of suspecting. Aisha said, "O Uriah, that is Allah." No doubt, they were quite sure about it. I said, "May the verse be read in such a way as to mean that the apostles thought that Allah did not help them?" Aisha said, "Allah forbid. Impossible. The apostles did not suspect their Lord of such a thing." But this verse is concerned with the apostles' followers who had faith in their Lord and believed in their apostles, and their period of trials was long and Allah's help was delayed till the apostles gave up hope for the conversion of the disbelievers amongst their nation and suspected that even their followers were shaken in their belief. Allah's help then came to them. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet said, "The Honorable, the son of the Honorable, the son of the Honorable, was Joseph, the son of Jacob, the son of Isaac, the son of Abraham." Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, while Job was naked, taking a bath, a swarm of gold locusts fell on him and he started collecting them in his garment. His Lord called him, "O Job, have I not made you rich enough to need what you see?" He said, "Yes, O Lord. But I cannot dispense with your blessing." Narrated Aisha, the Prophet returned to Qadiyah while his heart was beating rapidly. She took him to Waraka bin Nawfal, who was a Christian convert and used to read the Gospels in Arabic. Waraka asked the Prophet, "What do you see?" When he told him, Waraka said, "That is the same angel whom Allah sent to the Prophet, Moses. Should I live till you receive the divine message, I will support you strongly." Narrated Malik bin Saza, Allah's apostle talked to his companions about his night journey to the heavens. When he reached the fifth heaven, he met Aaron. Gabriel said to the Prophet, "This is Aaron." The Prophet said, "Gabriel greeted and so did I," and he returned the greeting saying, "Welcome, O pious brother and pious Prophet." Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, "On the night of my ascension to heaven, I saw the Prophet, Moses, who was a thin person with lank hair, looking like one of the men of the tribe of Shanua, and I saw Jesus who was of average height with red face as if he had just come out of a bathroom. And I resemble Prophet Abraham more than any of his offspring does." Then I was given 2 cups, one containing milk and the other wine. Gabriel said, "Drink whichever you like." I took the milk and drank it. Gabriel said, "You have accepted what is natural, true religion, that is Islam, and if you had taken the wine, your followers would have gone astray." Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, "One should not say that I am better than Jonah, that is Yunus, bin Matta." So, he mentioned his further matter. The Prophet mentioned the night of his ascension and said, "The Prophet Moses was brown, a tall person as if from the people of the tribe of Shanua. Jesus was a curly-haired man of moderate height." He also mentioned Malik, the gatekeeper of the hell fire, and Ad-Dajj. Narrated Ibn Abbas, when the Prophet came to Medina, he found the Jews fasting on the day of Ashura, that is 10th of Muharram. They used to say, "This is a great day on which Allah saved Moses and drowned the folk of Pharaoh." Moses observed the fast on this day, as a sign of gratitude to Allah. The Prophet said, "I am closer to Moses than they." So, he observed the fast on that day, and ordered the Muslims to fast on it. Narrated Abu said, the Prophet said, "People will be struck unconscious on the day of resurrection and I will be the first to regain consciousness, and behold, there I will see Moses holding one of the pillars of Allah's throne. I will wonder whether he has become conscious before me if he has been exempted, because of his unconsciousness at the Dur mountain, which he received, on the earth." Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, "Were it not for Bani Israel, meat would not decay, and were it not for Eve, no woman would ever betray her husband." Narrated Ibn Abbas, that he differed with Al-Har bin Qais al-Fazari regarding the companion of Moses. Ibn Abbas said that he was Al-Qadiyah. Meanwhile Ubay bin Ka'b passed by them and Ibn Abbas called him saying, "My friend and I have differed regarding Moses' companion whom Moses asked the way to meet. Have you heard Allah's apostle mentioning something about him?" He said, "Yes, I heard Allah's apostle saying, while Moses was sitting in the company of some Israelites, a man came and asked him, 'Do you know anyone who is more learned than you?' Moses replied, No. So, Allah sent the divine inspiration to Moses. Yes, our slave, Khidr, is more learned than you. Moses asked how to meet him, that is Khidr. So, the fish was made as a sign for him, and he was told that when the fish was lost, he should return and there he would meet him. So, Moses went on looking for the sign of the fish in the sea. The servant boy of Moses said to him, "Do you know that when we were sitting by the side of the rock, I forgot the fish, and it was only Satan who made me forget to tell you about it?" Moses said, "That was what we were seeking after," and both of them returned, following their footmarks and found Khidr, and what happened further to them is mentioned in Allah's book. Narrated said bin Jubair, I said to Ibn Abbas, Nawfal Bakr claims that Moses, the companion of Al-Khidr, was not Moses, the prophet, of the children of Israel, but some other Moses. Ibn Abbas said, Allah's enemy, that is Nawf, has told a lie. Ubay bin Ka'b told us that the prophet said, once Moses stood up and addressed Bani Israel. He was asked who was the most learned man amongst the people. He said, I. Allah admonished him as he did not attribute absolute knowledge to him, Allah. So, Allah said to him, yes, at the junction of the two seas there is a slave of mine who is more learned than you. Moses said, O my Lord, how can I meet him? Allah said, take a fish and put it in a large basket and you will find him at the place where you will lose the fish. Moses took a fish and put it in a basket and proceeded along with his servant boy, Yashua bin Nun, till they reached the rock where they laid their heads, that is lay down. Moses slept, and the fish, moving out of the basket, fell into the sea. It took its way into the sea, straight, as in a tunnel. Allah stopped the flow of water over the fish and it became like an arch. The Prophet pointed out this arch with his hands. They traveled the rest of the night, and the next day Moses said to his boy, servant, give us our food, for indeed, we have suffered much fatigue in this journey of ours. Moses did not feel tired till he crossed that place which Allah had ordered him to seek after. His boy, servant, said to him, do you know that when we were sitting near that rock, I forgot the fish, and none but Satan caused me to forget to tell you about it, and it took its course into the sea in an amazing way? So there was a path for the fish and that astonished them. Moses said, that was what we were seeking after. So, both of them retraced their footsteps till they reached the rock. That they saw a man lying covered with a garment. Moses greeted him and he replied saying, how do people greet each other in your land? Moses said, I am Moses. The man asked, Moses of Bani Israel? Moses said, yes, I have come to you so that you may teach me from those things which Allah has taught you. He said, O Moses, I have some of the knowledge of Allah which Allah has taught me, and which you do not know, while you have some of the knowledge of Allah which Allah has taught you and which I do not know. Moses asked, may I follow you? He said, but you will not be able to remain patient with me, for how can you be patient about things which you will not be able to understand? Moses said, you will find me, if Allah so will, truly patient, and I will not disobey you in aught. So, both of them set out walking along the seashore. A boat passed by them and they asked the crew of the boat to take them on board. The crew recognized Al-Khidr and so they took them on board without fare. When they were on board the boat, a sparrow came and stood on the edge of the boat and dipped its beak once or twice into the sea. Al-Khidr said to Moses, O Moses, my knowledge and your knowledge have not decreased Allah's knowledge except as much as this sparrow has decreased the water of the sea with its beak. Then suddenly Al-Khidr took an adze and plucked a plank, and Moses did not notice it till he had plucked a plank with the adze. Moses said to him, what have you done? They took us on board charging us nothing, yet you I have intentionally made a hole in their boat so as to drown its passengers. Verily, you have done a dreadful thing. Al-Khidr replied, did I not tell you that you would not be able to remain patient with me? Moses replied, do not blame me for what I have forgotten, and do not be hard upon me for my fault. So the first excuse of Moses was that he had forgotten. When they had left the sea, they passed by a boy playing with other boys. Al-Qadir took hold of the boy's head and plucked it with his hand like this. Sufyan, the sub-narrator, pointed with his fingertips as if he was plucking some fruit. Moses said to him, "Have you killed an innocent person who has not killed any person? You have really done a horrible thing." Al-Qadir said, "Did I not tell you that you could not remain patient with me?" Moses said, "If I ask you about anything after this, don't accompany me. You have received an excuse from me." Then both of them went on till they came to some people of a village, and they asked its inhabitant for wood, but they refused to entertain them as guests. Then they saw therein a wall which was just going to collapse, and Al-Qadir repaired it just by touching it with his hands. Sufyan, the sub-narrator, pointed with his hands, illustrating how Al-Qadir passed his hands over the wall upwards. Moses said, "These are the people whom we have called on, but they neither gave us food, nor entertained us as guests, yet you have repaired their wall. If you had wished, you could have taken wages for it." Al-Qadir said, "This is the parting between you and me, and I shall tell you the explanation of those things on which you could not remain patient." The Prophet added, "We wished that Moses could have remained patient, by virtue of which Allah might have told us more about their story." Sufyan the sub-narrator said that the Prophet said, "May Allah bestow his mercy on Moses. If he had remained patient, we would have been told further about their case." Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, Al-Qadir was named so because he sat over a barren white land. It turned green with plantation after his sitting over it. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, "It was said to Bani Israel, enter the gate of the town, with humility, prostrating yourselves, and saying, repentance, but they changed the word and entered the town crawling on their buttocks and saying, a wheat grain in the hair." Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, the Prophet, Moses was a shy person and used to cover his body completely because of his extensive shyness. One of the children of Israel hurt him by saying, he covers his body in this way only because of some defect in his skin, either leprosy or scrotal hernia, or he has some other defect. Allah wished to clear Moses of what they said about him, so one day while Moses was in seclusion, he took off his clothes and put them on a stone and started taking a bath. When he had finished the bath, he moved towards his clothes so as to take them. But the stone took his clothes and fled. Moses picked up his stick and ran after the stone saying, "O stone, give me my garment." Till he reached a group of Bani Israel who saw him naked then, and found him the best of what Allah had created, and Allah cleared him of what they had accused him of. The stone stopped there and Moses took and put his garment on and started hitting the stone with his stick. By Allah, the stone still has some traces of the hitting, 3, 4 or 5 marks. This was what Allah refers to in his saying, "O you who believe. Be you not like those who annoyed Moses," but Allah proved his innocence of that which they alleged, and he was honorable in Allah's sight. 33.69 Narrated Abdullah, once the Prophet distributed something among his followers. A man said, "This distribution has not been done with justice, seeking Allah's countenance." I went to the Prophet and told him of that. He became so angry that I saw the signs of anger on his face. Then he said, "May Allah bestow his mercy on Moses, for he was harmed more, in a worse manner, than this, yet he endured patiently." Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, we were with Allah's apostle picking the fruits of the arak trees, and Allah's apostle said, "Pick the black fruit, for it is the best." The companions asked, "Were you a shepherd?" He replied, "There was no prophet who was not a shepherd." Narrated Abu Huraira, the angel of death was sent to Moses. When he came to Moses, Moses slapped him on the eye. The angel returned to his Lord and said, "You have sent me to a slave who does not want to die." Allah said, "Return to him and tell him to put his hand on the back of an ox, and for every hair that will come under it, he will be granted 1 year of life." Moses said, "O Lord, what will happen after that?" Allah replied, "Then death." Moses said, "Let it come now." Moses then requested Allah to let him die close to the sacred land, so much so that he would be at a distance of a stone's throw from it. Abu Huraira added, Allah's apostle said, "If I were there, I would show you his grave below the red sand hill on the side of the road. Narrated Abu Huraira, a Muslim and a Jew quarreled. The Muslim, taking an oath, said, by him who has preferred Muhammad over all people. The Jew said, by him who has preferred Moses over all people. The Muslim raised his hand and slapped the Jew who came to the Prophet to tell him what had happened between him and the Muslim. The Prophet said, don't give me superiority over Moses, for the people will become unconscious on the day of resurrection, and I will be the first to gain consciousness to see Moses standing and holding a side of Allah's throne. I will not know if he has been among those people who have become unconscious, and that he has gained consciousness before me, or he has been amongst those whom Allah has exempted. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, Adam and Moses argued with each other. Moses said to Adam, you are Adam whose mistake expelled you from paradise. Adam said to him, you are Moses whom Allah selected as his messenger and as the one to whom he spoke directly, yet you blame me for a thing which had already been written in my fate before my creation. Allah's apostle said twice, so Adam overpowered Moses. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet once came to us and said, all the nations were displayed in front of me, and I saw a large multitude of people covering the horizon. Somebody said, this is Moses and his followers. Narrated Abu Musa, Allah's apostle said, many amongst men reached the level of perfection, but none amongst the women reached this level except Asia, Pharaoh's wife, and Mary, the daughter of Imran. And no doubt, the superiority of Aisha to other women is like the superiority of Thurid, that is a meat and bread dish, to other meals. Narrated Abdullah, the Prophet said, none of you should say that I am better than Yunus, that is Jonah. Muzdid added, Jonah bin Matta. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, no slave of Allah should say that I am better than Yunus bin Matta. So the Prophet mentioned his father's name with his name. Narrated Abu Huraira, once while a Jew was selling something, he was offered a price that he was not pleased with. So, he said, no, by him who gave Moses superiority over all human beings. Hearing him, an Ansari man got up and slapped him on the face and said, you say, by him who gave Moses superiority over all human beings, although the Prophet, Muhammad, is present amongst us. The Jew went to the Prophet and said, O Abu al-Qasim, I am under the assurance and contract of security, so what right does so and so have to slap me? The Prophet asked the other, why have you slapped? He told him the whole story. The Prophet became angry, till anger appeared on his face, and said, don't give superiority to any prophet amongst Allah's prophets, for when the trumpet will be blown, everyone on the earth and in the heavens will become unconscious except those whom Allah will exempt. The trumpet will be blown for the second time, and I will be the first to be resurrected to see Moses holding Allah's throne. I will not know whether the unconsciousness which Moses received on the day of Tur has been sufficient for him, or has he got up before me. And I do not say that there is anybody who is better than Yunus bin Matta. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, none should say that I am better than Yunus bin Matta. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, the reciting of the Zabur, that is Psalms, was made easy for David. He used to order that his riding animals be saddled, and would finish reciting the Zabur before they were saddled. And he would never eat except from the earnings of his manual work. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr, Allah's apostle was informed that I have said, by Allah, I will fast all the days and pray all the nights as long as I live. On that, Allah's apostle asked me, are you the one who says, I will fast all the days and pray all the nights as long as I live? I said, yes, I have said it. He said, you cannot do that. So fast, sometimes, and do not fast, sometimes. Pray and sleep. Fast for 3 days a month, for the reward of a good deed is multiplied by 10 times, and so the fasting of 3 days a month equals the fasting of a year. I said, O Allah's apostle, I can do fast more than this. He said, fast on every 3rd day. I said, I can do fast more than that. He said, fast on alternate days, and this was the fasting of David, which is the most moderate sort of fasting. I said, O Allah's apostle, I can do fast more than that. He said, there is nothing better than that. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As, the Prophet said to me, I have been informed that you pray all the nights and observe fast all the days, is this true? I replied, yes. He said, if you do so, your eyes will become weak and you will get bored. So fast 3 days a month, for this will be the fasting of a whole year, or equal to the fasting of a whole year. I said, I find myself able to fast more. He said, then fast like the fasting of the Prophet David, who used to fast on alternate days and would not flee on facing the enemy. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr, Allah's apostle said to me, the most beloved fasting to Allah was the fasting of the Prophet David, who used to fast on alternate days. And the most beloved prayer to Allah was the prayer of David, who used to sleep for the first half of the night and pray for 1/3 of it and, again, sleep for 1/6 of it. Narrated Mujahid, I asked Ibn Abbas, should we perform a prostration on reciting Surat Sad? He recited the surah, including, and among his progeny, David, Solomon. Up to ... So follow their guidance, 6.8491, and then he said, your prophet is amongst those people who have been ordered to follow them, that is the preceding apostles. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the prostration in Surah Sad is not amongst the compulsory prostrations, though I saw the Prophet prostrating on reciting the statement of Allah: and to David we gave Solomon, for a son. How excellent, a slave he was ever oft returning in repentance, to us, 38.30, and his statement: he said, my Lord, forgive me and grant me a kingdom such as shall not belong to any other after me. 38.35, and his statement: and they followed what the devils gave out, falsely, of magic in the lifetime of Solomon. 2.102. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, a strong demon from the jinns came to me yesterday suddenly, so as to spoil my prayer, but Allah enabled me to overpower him, and so I caught him and intended to tie him to one of the pillars of the mosque so that all of you might see him. But I remembered the invocation of my brother Solomon, and grant me a kingdom such as shall not belong to any other after me. 38.35, so I let him go cursed. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, Solomon, the son of David said, tonight I will sleep with 70 ladies, each of whom will conceive a child who will be a knight fighting for Allah's cause. His companion said, if Allah will. But Solomon did not say so. Therefore none of those women got pregnant except one who gave birth to a half-child. The Prophet further said, if the Prophet Solomon had said it, that is if Allah will, he would have begotten children who would have fought in Allah's cause. Shuaib ibn Abi Azin had said, 90 women is more correct than 70. Narrated Abu Da, I said, O Allah's apostle, which mosque was built first? He replied, Al-Masjid al-Haram. I asked, which was built next? He replied, Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, that is Jerusalem. I asked, what was the period in between them? He replied, 40 years. He then added, wherever the time for the prayer comes upon you, perform the prayer, for all the earth is a place of worshipping for you. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, my example and the example of the people is like that of a person who lit a fire and let the moths, butterflies and these insects fall in it. He also said, there were 2 women, each of whom had a child with her. A wolf came and took away the child of one of them, whereupon the other said, it has taken your child. The first said, but it has taken your child. So they both carried the case before David, who judged that the living child be given to the elder lady. So both of them went to Solomon bin David and informed him of the case. He said, bring me a knife so as to cut the child into 2 pieces and distribute it between them. The younger lady said, may Allah be merciful to you. Don't do that, for it is her, that is the other lady's, child. So he gave the child to the younger lady. Narrated Abdullah, when the verse those who believe and mix not their belief with wrong was revealed, the companions of the Prophet said, who amongst us has not mixed his belief with wrong? Then Allah revealed, Join none in worship with Allah. Verily joining others in worship with Allah is a great wrong indeed. Narrated Abdullah, when the verse "Those who believe and mix not their belief with wrong" was revealed, the Muslims felt it very hard on them and said, "O Allah's Apostle, who amongst us does not do wrong to himself?" He replied, "The verse does not mean this, but that wrong means to associate others in worship to Allah. Don't you listen to what Luqman said to his son when he was advising him, 'O my son, join not others in worship with Allah. Verily joining others in worship with Allah is a great wrong indeed.'" 31.13 Narrated Malik bin Saza, that the Prophet talked to them about the night of his ascension to the heavens. He said, "Then Gabriel took me, and ascended up till he reached the second heaven, where he asked for the gate to be opened, but it was asked, 'Who is it?' Gabriel replied, 'I am Gabriel.' It was asked, 'Who is accompanying you?' He replied, 'Muhammad.' It was asked, 'Has he been called?' He said, 'Yes.' When we reached over the second heaven, I saw Yahya, that is John, and Jesus, who were cousins. Gabriel said, 'These are John, Yahya, and Jesus, so greet them.' I greeted them and they returned the greeting, saying, 'Welcome, O pious brother and pious prophet.'" Narrated said bin al-Musayyab, Abu Huraira said, "I heard Allah's Apostle saying, 'There is none born among the offspring of Adam, but Satan touches it.' A child therefore cries loudly at the time of birth because of the touch of a Satan, except Mary and her child." Then Abu Huraira recited, "And I seek refuge with you for her and for her offspring from the outcast Satan." 3.36 Narrated Ali, I heard the Prophet saying, "Mary, the daughter of Imran, was the best among the women of the world of her time, and Khadijah is the best amongst the women of this nation." Narrated Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, the Prophet said, "The superiority of Aisha to other ladies is like the superiority of Thurid, that is meat and bread dish, to other meals. Many men reached the level of perfection, but no woman reached such a level except Mary, the daughter of Imran, and Aisha, the wife of Pharaoh." Narrated Abu Huraira, I heard Allah's Apostle saying, "Amongst all those women who ride camels, that is Arabs, the ladies of Quraysh are the best. They are merciful and kind to their offspring and the best guardians of their husbands' properties." Abu Huraira added, "Mary the daughter of Imran never rode a camel." Narrated Ubadah, the Prophet said, "If anyone testifies that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah alone, who has no partners, and that Muhammad is his slave and his apostle, and that Jesus is Allah's slave and his apostle and his word which he bestowed on Mary and a spirit created by him, and that paradise is true, and hell is true, Allah will admit him into paradise with the deeds which he had done, even if those deeds were few." Junada, the sub-narrator said, Ubadah added, "Such a person can enter paradise through any of its 8 gates he likes." Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, "None spoke in cradle but 3. The first was Jesus, the second was, there a man from Bani Israel called Juraj. While he was offering his prayers, his mother came and called him. He said to himself, 'Shall I answer her or keep on praying?' He went on praying, and did not answer her. His mother said, 'O Allah, do not let him die till he sees the faces of prostitutes.' So while he was in his hermitage, a lady came and sought to seduce him, but he refused. So she went to a shepherd and presented herself to him to commit illegal sexual intercourse with her, and then later she gave birth to a child and claimed that it belonged to Juraj. The people, therefore, came to him and dismantled his hermitage and expelled him out of it and abused him. Juraj performed the ablution and offered prayer, and then came to the child and said, 'O child, who is your father?' The child replied, 'The shepherd.' After hearing this, the people said, 'We shall rebuild your hermitage of gold,' but he said, 'No, of nothing but mud.'" The third was the hero of the following story. A lady from Bani Israel was nursing her child at her breast when a handsome rider passed by her. She said, "O Allah, make my child like him." On that the child left her breast, and facing the rider said, "O Allah, do not make me like him." The child then started to suck her breast again. Abu Huraira further said, as if I were now looking at the Prophet sucking his finger, in way of demonstration. After a while the people passed by, with a lady slave, and she, that is the child's mother, said, O Allah, do not make my child like this, slave girl. On that the child left her breast and said, O Allah, make me like her. When she asked why, the child replied, the rider is one of the tyrants while the slave girl is falsely accused of theft and illegal sexual intercourse. Narrated Hisham, from Mamre as below. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, I met Moses on the night of my ascension to heaven. The Prophet then described him saying, as I think, he was a tall person with lank hair as if he belonged to the people of the tribe of Shanuz. The Prophet further said, I met Jesus. The Prophet described him saying, he was one of moderate height and was red-faced as if he had just come out of a bathroom. I saw Abraham whom I resembled more than any of his children did. The Prophet further said, that night, I was given 2 cups, one full of milk and the other full of wine. I was asked to take either of them which I liked, and I took the milk and drank it. On that it was said to me, you have taken the right path, religion. If you had taken the wine, your Muslim nation would have gone astray. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet said, I saw Moses, Jesus and Abraham, on the night of my ascension to the heavens. Jesus was of red complexion, curly hair and a broad chest. Moses was of brown complexion, straight hair and tall stature as if he was from the people of Azzat. Narrated Abdullah, the Prophet mentioned the Messiah Ad-Dajjal in front of the people saying, Allah is not one-eyed while Messiah, Ad-Dajjal is blind in the right eye and his eye looks like a bulging out grape. While sleeping near the Kaaba last night, I saw in my dream a man of brown color, the best one can see amongst brown color, and his hair was long that it fell between his shoulders. His hair was lank and water was dribbling from his head, and he was placing his hands on the shoulders of 2 men while circumambulating the Kaaba. I asked, who is this? They replied, this is Jesus, son of Mary. Behind him I saw a man who had very curly hair and was blind in the right eye, resembling Ibn Qatan, that is an infidel, in appearance. He was placing his hands on the shoulders of a person while performing tawaf around the Kaaba. I asked, who is this? They replied, the Masih, Ad-Dajjal. Narrated Salim from his father, no, by Allah, the Prophet did not tell that Jesus was of red complexion but said, while I was asleep circumambulating the Kaaba, in my dream, suddenly I saw a man of brown complexion and lank hair walking between 2 men, and water was dropping from his head. I asked, who is this? The people said, he is the son of Mary. Then I looked behind and I saw a red-complexioned, fat, curly-haired man, blind in the right eye which looked like a bulging-out grape. I asked, who is this? They replied, he is Ad-Dajjal. The one who resembled to him among the people, was Ibn Qatan. Az-Zuhri said, he, that is Ibn Qatan, was a man from the tribe Khuza'ah who died in the pre-Islamic period. Narrated Abu Huraira, I heard Allah's apostle saying, I am the nearest of all the people to the son of Mary, and all the prophets are paternal brothers. And there has been no prophet between me and him, that is Jesus. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, both in this world and in the hereafter, I am the nearest of all the people to Jesus, the son of Mary. The prophets are paternal brothers, their mothers are different, but their religion is one. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, Jesus, seeing a man stealing, asked him, did you steal? He said, no, by Allah, except whom there is none who has the right to be worshipped. Jesus said, I believe in Allah and suspect my eyes. Narrated Omar, I heard the Prophet saying, do not exaggerate in praising me as the Christians praised the son of Mary, for I am only a slave. So, call me the slave of Allah and his apostle. Narrated Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, Allah's apostle said, if a person teaches his slave girl good manners properly, educates her properly, and then manumits and marries her, he will get a double reward. And if a man believes in Jesus and then believes in me, he will get a double reward. And if a slave fears his Lord, that is Allah, and obeys his masters, he too will get a double reward. Narrated ibn Abbas, Allah's apostle said, "You will be resurrected, and assembled, barefooted, naked and uncircumcised." The Prophet then recited the divine verse: "As we began the first creation, we shall repeat it, a promise we have undertaken. Truly we shall do it." 21.104 He added, "The first to be dressed will be Abraham. Then some of my companions will take to the right and to the left. I will say, my companions. It will be said, they had been renegades since you left them. I will then say what the pious slave Jesus, the son of Mary, said, and I was a witness over them while I dwelt amongst them. When you did take me up, you were the watcher over them, and you are a witness to all things. If you punish them, they are your slaves, and if you forgive them, only you are the Almighty, the All-Wise." 5.117-118, narrated Craggers, "Those were the apostates who renegade from Islam during the Caliphate of Abu Bakr who fought them." Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, "By him in whose hands my soul is, surely, Jesus, the son of Mary will soon descend amongst you and will judge mankind justly, as a just ruler. He will break the cross and kill the pigs, and there will be no jizya, that is taxation taken from non-Muslims. Money will be in abundance so that nobody will accept it, and a single prostration to Allah, in prayer, will be better than the whole world and whatever is in it." Abu Huraira added, "If you wish, you can recite this verse of the Holy Book, and there is none of the people of the Scriptures, Jews and Christians, but must believe in him, i.e. Jesus, as an apostle of Allah and a human being, before his death. And on the day of judgment he will be a witness against them." 4.159, see Fath al-Bari, page 302 volume 7. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, "How will you be when the son of Mary, that is Jesus, descends amongst you, and he will judge people by the law of the Quran and not by the law of gospel?" Fath al-Bari, page 304 and 305 volume 7.